Pocket FM.
To unlock all the episodes, click the link in bio.
Rhys, lone survivor of his decimated pack, battles his dark doppelganger in the Cursed Wastes, while Trinity is imprisoned by warlocks for a dark ritual. Rhys's strength fades, Trinity feels his pain, and Calum hints at unforeseen events. What is the ritual's true purpose? Can Rhys defeat his shadow self? Will Trinity survive? Rhys gasped as his shadow self struck him again, the force sending him crashing onto the cracked ground of the wastes. His body screamed in protest, but he forced himself up, blood dripping from his lip. The doppelganger tilted its head, watching him with unsettling amusement. "You're fighting a battle you've already lost." Rhys's fists clenched. "I don't lose." The shadow smirked. "Then why are you alone?" The words hit deeper than any physical blow. Rhys's breath caught. He could still see them. Elias, Juniper, Noah, Vincent, Trinity, all of them taken, lost, slipping further away with every second he wasted here. And the worst part, a small, traitorous part of him agreed with the shadow. Maybe he had lost. But then he heard it. Faint, distant, a heartbeat. Trinity's. Rhys's eyes snapped up. The wastes were lying to him, twisting his mind, feeding on his doubt. He bared his teeth, golden energy flaring around him. "I'm not alone." He launched himself forward, claws ripping through his shadow's chest. The doppelganger's smirk faded into shock. And then, it shattered. In the warlock's sanctum, Calum stood before the captive wolves, his hands clasped behind his back. The air in the chamber was thick with power, the magic pulsing through the very walls. "You've been difficult to break," he mused, his silver eyes sweeping over Juniper, Noah, Vincent, and Elias. "But we don't need all of you," Juniper snarled, struggling against the chains binding her. "Go to hell." Calum smirked. "Oh, I've already been there. Let's not waste time." He turned to Elias. "Tell me, Seer, do you know what's happening to your alpha?" Elias's jaw tightened. "He's stronger than you think." Calum chuckled. "We'll see." With a flick of his fingers, a portal shimmered into existence. Within it, Rhys was visible, kneeling in the wastes, exhausted but alive. Calum's voice turned cold. "Bring him to me." Rhys staggered forward, each step heavier than the last. He had won against his shadow, but the wastes were still draining him, sapping his strength with every breath. Then, the ground beneath him shifted. Chains erupted from the earth, glowing with dark magic. They coiled around his wrists, his ankles dragging him down. Rhys fought, muscles straining, but the more he struggled, the tighter they became. A voice echoed through the void. "You cannot fight fate." His head snapped up. A figure stood in the distance, cloaked in silver and black. Calum. The warlock lifted a hand, and the chains yanked Rhys off his feet. Then, the world vanished in a pulse of blinding light. Pain flared through Rhys's body as he crashed onto the cold stone floor of the warlock's sanctum. He gasped, his senses reeling, his mind struggling to process what had just happened. He wasn't in the wastes anymore. He was in the enemy's stronghold. A familiar voice rang out. "Rhys!" He turned sharply. Across the chamber, bound in heavy restraints, were Juniper, Noah, Vincent, and Elias. Their faces were bruised, their bodies battered, but they were alive. A surge of relief warred with fury inside him. They had taken everything from him, his pack, his mate. And now, they thought they had him. Calum stepped forward, his smirk infuriatingly calm. "Welcome home, Alpha." Rhys bared his teeth. "This isn't my home." Calum chuckled. "It will be soon." Rhys struggled against his restraints, but the warlock's magic burned into his skin, suppressing his strength. He could feel the power thrumming in the chamber, the air itself heavy with ancient spells. Calum paced before him, his expression almost amused. "You have no idea what you are, do you?" Rhys's jaw clenched. "I know enough." Calum tilted his head. "Do you?" He gestured toward Trinity's prison where she remained frozen in magic. "She was always meant to be the key, but then you came along." Rhys's chest tightened. "What are you talking about?" Calum leaned closer. "She was the sacrifice, Alpha, but you are the weapon." Rhys's blood turned to ice. The warlocks didn't want to destroy him. They wanted to use him. And as the magic around him pulsed, stronger than ever, he realized, too late. Rhys's body tensed as the magic binding him surged. wrapping tighter around his limbs. The warlock's power pressed against his skin, seeping into him like venom. Every instinct screamed at him to fight, to break free, but the more he struggled, the more it drained him. Calum stood before him, his silver eyes gleaming with anticipation. "You feel it now, don't you?" Rhys gritted his teeth, refusing to give in. "I feel your desperation." Calum merely smiled. "You're mistaken, Alpha. This isn't desperation. This is destiny." With a flick of his wrist, the runes lining the chamber ignited, filling the air with a deafening hum. The energy in the room grew heavy, pulsing in sync with Rhys's own heartbeat. And then he felt it, a pull deep within his soul. Something inside him was waking up. Elias struggled against his restraints, his voice raw. "Rhys, don't let them do this!" Juniper and Vincent thrashed against their bonds, their faces twisted in fury, but the warlock's magic held firm. Calum turned to them, a quiet amusement in his voice. "Your Alpha isn't your savior anymore." He lifted his hands and the ritual began. The ritual surged, dark magic binding Rhys. His golden light flickered, replaced by something alien. Calum smiled, his weapon taking form. The wolves watched, horrified. A blinding flash, then silence. Had they won? What was Rhys now? Could he ever be saved?
Hey, I am Trinity. Want to know what happens next? Then click the link in the description below and download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of Chosen by Fate, Rejected by the Alpha.
Rhys defeated his shadow, but the wastes weakened him. Calum revealed Rhys, not Trinity, was the true weapon, and began a dark ritual. Rhys's light vanished, replaced by something unknown. A blinding flash, then silence. What is Rhys now? Can he be saved? Rhys could feel the power coursing through him, thick like molten fire in his veins. The warlocks surrounded him, their chants weaving through the air, binding his limbs in invisible chains. He gritted his teeth, but his body was no longer his own. He was caught in the web of their spell. Across the chamber, Juniper, Noah, Vincent, and Elias struggled against their restraints. Juniper's eyes blazed with fury. "Fight it, Rhys." Calum's smirk deepened. "Oh, he is fighting. That's the beauty of it." He stepped closer, placing a hand on Rhys's chest. But his blood knows the truth. It calls for power. It wants this. Rhys's vision blurred as flashes of memory and magic swirled around him. He could hear Trinity's heartbeat, weak, distant, but it tethered him, grounding him even as the darkness threatened to consume him. Noah growled, his muscles straining against the magic-infused chains. "You think this will end the way you want?" Calum laughed. "Oh, but it already is." He turned to Elias. "The seer should know what's coming." Elias's breath was ragged. He had been using his visions to search for a way out, but all he saw was fire, destruction, Rhys's power unleashed. "No," Elias muttered, "this isn't how it ends." Calum's eyes glowed. "Are you certain?" He flicked his wrist, and an unseen force wrenched Elias forward. The seer gasped, his body racked with pain. The warlocks didn't just want to use Rhys. They were ready to break them all. Rhys could feel it. Something ancient, something buried deep inside him was waking up. His skin burned, his heartbeat thundered like war drums in his ears. And then he saw her. Trinity. Not as she was now, imprisoned and weak, but as she had been, bright, fierce. His. A flicker of something sharp and painful ignited in his chest. She needed him. For a brief moment, the warlock's hold faltered. Vincent saw the shift. "Rhys, listen to me. You're not their weapon. You're not their pawn." But Calum's smirk never wavered. "It's too late." He raised his hands and the final stage of the ritual began. Power exploded outward, shattering the protective spells around the chamber. The sheer force of it sent shockwaves through the air, rattling the very foundation of the sanctum. Juniper let out a cry as her chains burned hotter, reacting to the surge of energy. "Rhys!" Inside the spiraling vortex of magic, Rhys was losing himself. The world blurred into colors and voices, warlocks chanting, his pack screaming, Trinity's heartbeat fading. His wolf howled in agony inside him, and then a new voice cut through the chaos, one he hadn't heard in years. "Rhys, remember who you are." His mother's voice. Rhys gasped, his vision shifting. He was no longer in the warlock's sanctum. He stood in a memory, his childhood home bathed in the golden light of dusk. His mother sat by the fireplace, her eyes gentle but firm. You were never meant to walk in darkness, my son. Reese clenched his fists. You carry the blood of warriors, of protectors, not monsters. She stood, stepping closer, her touch feather light on his face. The warlocks think they can twist that, turn you into something you're not. His breath was ragged. How do I stop them? She smiled sadly. You already know the answer. The vision shattered. Reese snapped back to reality. Reese roared, his energy surging outward in an explosion of golden light. The warlocks stumbled back, their ritual disrupted, their hold wavering. Keelam's expression darkened. No, not yet. Reese turned to his pack, determination in his eyes. The chains binding them began to crack under his force. Juniper's breath hitched as she felt the pressure ease. Noah wasted no time. We have to move. But before they could escape, Caleb raised his hand, summoning a pulse of raw darkness. This isn't over. And then, with a final surge of power, the sanctum collapsed into chaos. Smoke and dust filled the air. The chamber was in ruins, the magic that had held it together now fragmented and unstable. Reese coughed, pushing himself to his feet. He scanned the rubble, heart hammering. Juniper, Noah, Vincent, Elias. They were gone. His stomach twisted. No. A slow, mocking clap echoed through the destruction. Caleb emerged from the smoke unscathed, his silver eyes gleaming with satisfaction. Looks like you're alone again, Alpha. Reese's hands trembled. First Trinity, now his entire pack. Caleb's smirk deepened. Now, let's see what happens when you truly have nothing left. And in the distant void, Trinity's heartbeat faded once more. Reese's light vanished, replaced by an unknown power. His pack was gone, the sanctum destroyed, and Caleb remained, promising more torment. What is Reese now? Can he be saved, or is he lost to the darkness?
Hey, I am Trinity. Want to know what happens next? Then click the link in the description below and download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of Chosen by Fate, Rejected by the Alpha.
Pocket FM.
To unlock all the episodes, click the link in bio.